Sergeant at Arms that we have Facebook Live coverage, and the House will be getting the cable TV live. So, just for everyone's information, the viewing public will also be monitoring our or have a chance to watch our proceeding. Before we formally start, I know that the agenda it indicates the 1:30 for municipality of Rota, but unfortunately there's a flight situation that the mayor was unable to be with us this afternoon. But I know some of these line agency heads are here with us, and which will be called upon after the municipality, the mayor of Tinian, Steve. So with that, again, we're back into our Senate Special Committee Oversight / Informational Hearing on OGM State Clearinghouse. At this time, Sarge, can you please escort the Honorable Aguigan, Mayor of Tinian and Aguigan, to his seat? And Mr. Mayor, if you want to invite anybody else, please do so.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, if I may invite Mr. Alan Perez,
Please.
and Ms. Reina Singh.
Thank you.
They both, Alan is the CEO and CFO. Reina is our grant management team.
Thanks, sir. And before we begin, again, this panel was impaneled to respond to the concerns and some information with regards to OGMSC, which was created 5 years ago and was 5 years ago by way of Public Law 1949. And in the legislation, or in the grant, I mean in the law, the agency is tasked to oversee a lot of the grants that's coming down to our islands. Because of that, and the multitude of concerns that was raised to the committee, we created this special committee to as the OGMSC administrator to answer to some of the concerns that was raised in the community and line agencies, and specifically the municipality of respective senatorial district. So with that, I yield to you, Mr. Mayor, and kindly just state your name for the record.
Hafidez and Tiro. Good afternoon, Chairman of Schneider and members of this committee. My name is Edwin Audon, and I am the Mayor of Tinian and Aguigan. Although I have been an elected official for nearly 2 decades, it wasn't until I became the Mayor of Tinian 2 years ago that I finally understand the financial challenges mayors of Tinian and Rota face on a daily basis to provide public service to their people. Every year, the legislature passes the cinema budget, but those funds are used primarily for personal and operations. And during these times of austerity and cutbacks, there are literally no local funds available for equipment, capital items, and infrastructure projects. This is why access to federal grant is so important to my office and the municipality of Tinian. Without assistance from the federal grants, we cannot adequately serve our people. It is no secret that my relationship with the Office of Grants Management has been rocky over the past year, and yes, I have been vocal about my frustration toward OGM and the administrator. And at times, my frustration has been taken to a personal level, not because I have any ill feelings toward any of the OGM staff, but because I truly feel that OGM has failed to provide the people of Tinian over the past 6 years an equitable share of federal grants received by the Sinibay. As we know, OGM is the clearinghouse for all federal grants given to the Sinibay. The municipality does not have any access to the grantors and must rely on OGM, and more specifically, the administrator, to prioritize, approve, and submit our grant requests. It is my opinion that over the past 2 administrations, OGM has failed to provide Tinian a fair share of grant received by the Sinibay. And as the mayor of Tinian, representing the people of Tinian, I refuse to beg the administrator, who is not an elected or even an appointed position, for his assistance and support. Providing federal grants to Tinian based on need is his job, and all I ask is that he perform his job equally. I have heard that the administrator has commented many times that Tinian hasn't asked for any assistance, and that's why we haven't received any grants. As I don't want to waste this committee's time with unsubstantiated accusations, I think it's best that I simply present the facts as to how many official requests we have made to OGM and how OGM has failed to assist them with even the most minor requests. January 5th, 2017, former Mayor San Nicolas, JP San Nicolas, requested assistance of OGM to provide 5 computers and fuel, and this request was never approved. On January 20, 2017, former Mayor San Nicolas requested assistance of OGM to procure a van for the mayor's office, and this request was never approved. December 18, 2017, former Mayor San Nicolas requested assistance of OGM to procure a Nissan Rogue for Tinian News Center. This request was never approved. September 9, 2019, I wrote to OGM upon the direction of the Lieutenant Governor requesting assistance for funding to pay expenses prior to U2, but this request was not approved. June 13, 2019, I wrote to OGM requesting assistance to pay for travel to attend the 30th Pacific Environmental Conference in Guam, and that request was not approved. September 26, 2019, I wrote to OGM requesting that they hire 2 FTEs for Tinian and train 3 of Mayor's office staff in grant writing. They only hired 1 person and to date have not provided any training. October 9, 2020, I wrote to OGM requesting training for my staff Reyna Cabrera and OGM's staff Dorothy San Nicolas, but to this date, that request has not been approved. I believe I will make a correction on that. I just was informed yesterday that finally they are sending Ms. Dorothy San Nicolas to be trained at OGM for one week. So obvious. March 18, 2020, I wrote to OGM requesting status of the grant funding for the Tinian Veteran Cemetery, and my letter was never answered. On October 21, 2020, OGM came to Tinian to meet with our departments, and during that session, promised each department a computer and supplies if they submit a proposal, in which most departments submitted their proposal. But today, they have not received 1 single computer. I brought with me today printouts of emails and letters that my office has sent to OGM that were never answered. My staff has sent numerous emails to the administrator to include requests for training, assistance with writing grant proposals, requests to review grant proposals and drafts, follow-ups to previous emails, inquiries regarding hiring the FTEs that were promised, information regarding the COVID grants that were made available, and the status of our solar lights. And these copies are available for the committee to review. Also included in that list are email threads from my staff to OGM of price quotation for playground sets, equipment, and maintenance equipment that we were told to submit in order for those small purchases to take place under our Children's Park TAP grant, but we never got a response. But the most disturbing action of OGM against the municipality of Tinian is when I personally met with Douglas Dominic, Deputy Secretary of Interior from OIA, and was asked what assistance I needed for the recovery of U2, and all I asked for was heavy equipment. A year later, I discovered from one of OGM's staff that the heavy equipment requests were not awarded, but OGM failed to communicate this with my office. To date, they have not given me an official denial letter upon my request from OI stating the reason that the heavy equipment was denied, considering my conversation with Douglas Dominic. It is hard for me not to think that OGM has deliberately withheld assistance and support for Tinian over the past 6 years, given the pattern of broken promises. I don't know if it's personal to me or the people of Tinian. In fact, in the aftermath of U2, this situation had become so severe that on May 20, 2019, I officially informed the governor and lieutenant governor of my disappointment with the administrator regarding the lack of assistance provided to Tinian to assist us with our typhoon recovery efforts. If OGM disputes this claim, I challenge them to list for this committee all of the grants given to Tinian over the past 6 years and what percentage of total cinema grants to Tinian grants amount to. I would like them to provide a list of grants provided to each municipality so we can compare if equal distribution was exercised. I challenge OGM to identify what training has been provided to their staff, to the Tinian staff, the mayor's staff, and then the Tinian departmental staff. I also challenge OGM to identify how much indirect costs have they received from cinema grants and Tinian grants, and how much of these funds have been used to assist Tinian. I think once OGM answers this question, it will be clear that OGM has grossly underrepresented the needs of Tinian. Eventually, this committee will be faced with answering the question whether the system is not working or whether the management is ineffective. It is my position that although the system can be improved, the fault lies with the management. Let me give you two recent examples. First, I would like to bring to your attention the solar lights grant, which Tinian was to receive 250,000. When the project scope of work was presented to us, we were shocked that only 30 solar lights and 5 solar panels would be funded, covering an area of only 400 meters. Obviously, we questioned how can these lights amount to 8,000 each, and why would we agree to a project that covers only a fraction of our beach pathway? Eventually, we corrected the scope of work and the project was submitted in August 2019. We have constantly tried to push the project to begin, but to this date, the project has not started. OGM claims that they had to suspend our project due to the demands of COVID-19. However, I find it hard to believe that a project so small and relatively simply would require such an extensive delay. If OGM claims the delay is due to permitting issues, then how was MBA able to install solar lights along the same pathway at the Taga Beach in less than 2 weeks? Second, I would like to address the recent OGM program to distribute rice, chicken, soba, and other food items to 800 households on Tinian. Although I totally supported the program, I criticized the mismanagement and inefficient execution by OGM. When this program was first brought to my attention, I was asked for my advice. I recommended that the food items should be purchased from Tinian vendors to help our local economy and also eliminate the shipping and storage logistics to ship 800 sacks of rice and 800 cases of chicken, 800 boxes of soba, and canned goods from Saipan. OGM decided not to follow my advice and purchase the items on Saipan, and rather than using the two established shipping companies, they decided to charter a ship which was not equipped to unload the items by pallets. As a result, I had to call in my staff on a sturdy Monday as early as 5:30 in the morning to unload the items by hand. Because the charter ship did not have equipment to transport the items, I also had to procure heavy equipment services to transport the items. When the project was finally completed, to my surprise and disappointment, I received a billing from the equipment rental as OGM refused to pay the expense until recently, after I shared my frustration over this situation with the lieutenant governor. I think we all agree that we wouldn't be here today if there was not a problem with OGM. Let me give you another example of how OGM has totally failed the people of Tinian in their greatest time of need. As we all know, Tinian was ground zero for Super Typhoon U2. Every resident was affected and every household received some degree of damage. The cleanup and recovery efforts were unimaginable and are still ongoing. The destruction of Tinian received international media coverage, and the entire world knew that Tinian was in dire need of assistance. Now, I ask OGM, to tell this committee the number of heavy equipment or vehicles provided to Tinian to assist us in our recovery? I think we all know the answer, zero. But let's also ask OGM if any equipment or vehicle were provided to Saipan. So I appeal here today to ask this committee and OGM, do I really have to beg for support for such an obvious and critical need? I believe the administrator, given his vast authority and discretion to manage millions of dollars in federal grants, needs to be held accountable for his decision and understand that it is not the role of the mayors or other elected officials to beg him for assistance, but for him to reach out to the municipalities to extend assistance and support needed. He needs to stop coming to Tinian acting like Santa Claus, offering the world just to later break his promises and, if anything, toss us a few crumbs. It wasn't until I watched last week's committee meeting when I was shocked at the millions of dollars of indirect costs obtained by OGM over the years in which Tinian has essentially received pennies. And you ask why I'm so frustrated and upset? Put yourself in my shoes and tell me what you would do if the people you represent are disserviced in the way the people of Tinian have been over the past 6 years by OGM. I also understand that OGM justifies their inefficiencies and delays due to a lack of employees to handle their workload. Although I agree that more employees would allow OGM to better manage their workload, as I disagree that this is the only solution. Currently, on my staff, I have 4 employees that have been trained on grant writing and management. We currently manage a $1.3 million fish and wildlife grant for Aguigan and have successfully managed CDBG grants. We have requested numerous times for LGM to train our staff on OGM system and grants portal so we can relieve them of the workload for Tinian grants. But today, this request has not been approved. If OGM would grant the mayor's office authority to apply directly and manage federal grants, they would not need as many additional FTEs as each mayor would staff their own grant management team. Before I conclude, I would also like to recommend a legislative change to the system to make OGM more productive and efficient, assuming that OGM would not delegate their authority to the mayors. I would like to recommend that the legislature pass legislation to delegate the administrator's authority to the mayors for grants for Tinian and Rhoda. I admit that prior to this committee oversight, I have been asked numerous times to sit down with the administrator to work out our differences. However, I'm not really sure what we need to work out, as all I ask is that OGM extends the same level of assistance to Tinian as they extend to the other municipalities. But if OGM is truly sincere about wanting to correct the wrongs and assist the people of Tinian, let them show it. Let them show it not with promises, but with results. So today, in front of this committee and the people of Tinian watching through live streaming, let OGM pledge that before the end of this year, they will deliver all of the items they have promised in the past to include heavy equipment, vehicles, computers, funding for infrastructure projects, and push through solar light grants. It's really that simple. But if OGM still believes that they have provided Tinian an equitable share of assistance, I once again challenge them to prove it. In fact, I have been so frustrated over the lack of support and assistance given to Tinian, especially our youth recovery efforts, that I'm still considering to lodge a formal complaint to the federal agencies and grantors that provide grants to the cinema to look into the manner in which these grants have been distributed within the cinema. Maybe we should see what they have to say about the manner in which OGM and the administrator has served Tinian. In closing, I would just like to impress upon this committee that the Office of Grant Manager is too critical of an agency to play politics, favoritism, or power plays. One person should not be able to use so much power, authority, and discretion over the prioritization and approval of federal funds that affects the lives of our people. This office needs to be constantly monitored to ensure fair and equitable distribution. The agency is vital to a mayor's ability to best serve the communities. And all I ask of this committee is to ensure that OGM meets this mandate. Again, thank you for your time, and I'm willing to ask any question from the committee. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Odon, for that testimony. I don't want to go first before my committee, but I would like to yield to Senator Cruz. If you want to pose your question, sir. Chairman?
Thank you, Mr. President. Actually, not much question to pose. We've heard the mayor stated since Mayor Nicholas' time that there's lack of support and attention to the island of Tinian. As I mentioned at the beginning of this OGM hearing, I lay out some of the issues that have not been addressed in the island of Tinian and other agencies in regards to fair and equal opportunity for agencies that requested to submit or requested and or write grant that went to the OGM office for concurrence. This is the first time that I heard all this, the complete on or rather not been given the services that the municipality have requested. And as I mentioned in the earliest day that we spoke with the administrator, and he have said that service has been rendered, and this is the clear statement that Mayor Don has given us today. And I believe that this body should look into this, Mr. President, and address all this. This is not fair treatment for the municipality. And I believe that the administrator should deliver these promises that he has given or has promised to the municipality, and treat all municipality and agency fair. I know that he mentioned about the deficit, or rather there's no funding at this point, but I think this should be addressed to the municipality, whether the first, second, and third, especially the statement that I know that the mayor have shared with us, some of those issues that are not being taken by OGM very seriously. And this is very, very clear today that the mayor have provided this committee with the full report from Mayor Nicholas' time up to his time. And I believe that this should be taken very seriously and address every single request that the municipality have reached out to the OGM. The mayor is correct on his statement that as a mayor of the island of the municipality of Tinian should be given also the opportunity to be assisted by the OGM, as he was also stated on that 1949 law, public law. And again, I know that you're very frustrated, Mr. Mayor, and you've been addressing this to us on different meetings, and I see your frustration, and I understand as the father of the municipality of Tinian, the people of Tinian is counting on your leadership to make sure that the delivering of public services is effective and efficient to the island, and most especially to the people of Tinian. Uh, like I said, I cannot pose question because everything that you have stated has already, is very clear. And the question that I was going to ask you, you have said it already in your statement. And all I ask from this committee, from this body, is to make sure that this, the statement that you provided us this afternoon should be addressed immediately. So I yield for now. Maybe I might come back if I see something here that I would like to ask the mayor or the staff a few questions. But I yield for now for the other members to pose question and concern. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator Cruz. I recognize Senator Vico.
Thank you, Mr. President. Yeah, thank you for your presence this afternoon, and I'm very grateful that you share the historical issues of the municipality that the Office of Grant Management had failed to address. If those are promises, I cannot blame you for feeling that way. And one thing, this committee will definitely and seriously look into those unattended promises or commitment that OGM has pledged to provide assistance. I know frustration breeds disappointment. Frustration breeds personal dissatisfaction on not necessarily the office, but the individual who's manning the office. And I really hate to see that will translate those frustrations to the working staff from that office. And there is no doubt that from your end to feel the way you felt today. And of course, this committee will seriously look into those commitments for the past 5 years from the Office of Grant Management, most especially those commitments that have been presented before you and your staff. And as we look into the less attention to the two senatorial district assistants, the committee seriously felt that if it's really personnel issue that delays all this, then the committee is willing to address the needed staff to ensure that the Office of Grant Management will provide diligent assistance to the senatorial meeting assistants. And it is always true, Mayor, that if we are not in service, then that's why your office and maybe you personally is now in conflict with the manager of Office of Grant Management. But I also see the light in the window of opportunity to seriously sit down on a different mode with the management and see what priority the municipality of Tinian require the most at this time, taking into account past commitment, sometimes, 6 years ago. And I know that if the grant management is going to provide you or the municipality of Tinian all this unaccomplished commitment for a one-time commitment, I cannot believe this will happen as we all expected, that we like to see this happen. Just this morning, the Office of Grant Management admitted before this committee that they are experiencing deficit in the sub-grant account. And it is good to meet with the manager or the management of Office of Grant Management to see what source of alternative that he can address the most needed and critical needs for the island of Tinian as he prepares to address other requests or commitment during your tenure as mayor. But that's why he mentioned that giving him 20 FTE will create at least minimum of 1 million per employee to secure a 1 million revenue for the Office of Grant Management under the sub-account. So I even went on asking him of the 20 FTE, if he's got 20 FTE, that he will secure 20 million in a given year. And I asked him, and what about the manager? How much can he secure aside from the 20 FTE, securing 1 million? And he made that commitment also that he may come up with a 5 million under his own doing. So I think your concern and frustration has no doubts with why you feel that way. And I sure don't know whether there is a substantial deviation or difference between the other senatorial district, particularly the other Rota, have experienced also the same or have gotten more than what was requested. There are times that you're saying sometimes the grant manager comes to Tinian and becomes Santa Claus. So I hope that, I think if he can do that on site in Tinian, that he may have done that too on the other Rota, which I sure don't have any idea what the mayor of Rota have went through with the Office of Grant Management. But it's good to note that there are some cabinet from the mayor that are here that perhaps can shine some of the light from their end as to whether they are being addressed or not. But we assure you, Mayor, that we will deal with Office of Grant to ensure that your frustration be overcome with positive result. We just hope that you have the room for working with the Office of the Grant Management to make it very clear to him that it's not that you hate the individual, it's the deliverables that have been promised is not there. So hopefully that the manager, the grant management manager will take this serious concern from the municipality of Tinian most particularly that you have provided the committee with a concrete testimony, a written testimony of all the dates and years that Grand Management have made this commitment to the island and continue to show failure on all this commitment that have promised to assist the municipality. I only knew partial, very minimal from conversation from my colleagues and other individual, but today your written testimony really signify the truth of what has been committed, offered to the municipality of Tinian, and today have failed to realize this commitment, not meeting not even 20% or 10% of such commitment. So we will ensure, Mayor, that your concern will be seriously addressed, and we will definitely see products from the past mayor's requests, and during your time as a mayor of Tinian, requesting substantial no consideration for assistance. And it is correct that if it's correct that treatment is otherwise, then we should do something about it critically and seriously. So I have no question to pose to you, Mayor, but just to say thank you for shining these gray areas on my part that I didn't know, and I'm pretty sure that I can also extend my assistance to assist the municipality of Tinian and to address this concern in the days to come. So thank you, and thank you to your staff for keeping up with all these records and communication with pressing communication on the status of all grant requests that the municipality have submitted to the Office of Grant Management. Thank you.
Mr. Macias, Senator Hoku, recognize Senator Sablan.
Thank you, Mr. President, and good afternoon, Mayor Aguigan, and also good afternoon to your staff. Thank you all for being here. I really appreciate your statement. It's been a long, we started these proceedings last week and we've continued on today, and we've heard so many testimonies. We've received so much information in a form of these binders daily leading up to these the beginning of these proceedings, and your oral statement and testimony stands out above all. I felt your frustration for the municipality and the community that you serve, and it is your job to be frustrated if the services that are to be rendered to you in order for you to perform your duties for your constituents is not met. So that's natural, and there's nothing wrong with that. So I appreciate your feelings and the deliverance of your testimony. And it's vital for this committee to know all of the experiences yourself, your staff, and even the other entities and instrumentalities have went through. I'm trying to be served by OGM, or if they have been served by OGM through Public Law 19-49, which mandates them to serve the instrumentalities and entities under the CNMI government. So there's been a lot of information and a lot of statements. These proceedings, through these proceedings, we have received, again, a lot of information and testimonies. And it is through the leadership of our Senate President, who chairs the special committee. He wants something to come out of this, right? So what have we got out of these proceedings so far? In my opinion, what we've got out of it is we've identified the need to amend Public Law 19-49 to make it more effective, right? To have more clarity in the deliverance of the service that OGM provides. In our questions through the past days and last week, we've referenced Public Law 19-49, the sections, the subsections. We've read out certain clauses, and we've really communicated the language and the mandate that needs to happen to the administrator of OGM, including his staff. We see the need to deliver. We see the need for the administrator to deliver everything that is mandated by Public Law 19-49. For example, the reporting clauses on how information needs to be communicated to the legislature and the instrumentalities and the entities. We saw the need, or we see the need, to restructure the procedures to perform their mandates more effectively. Right? We've brought up terms as, like standard operating procedures. What are your policies? Are they in writing? How are these put forth for reference or used when these services are to be rendered to the entities that are in need? Most importantly, we saw the need for more effective communication, and it's one of the most important needs that we see coming out of this whole proceeding, but it's the most simple one. The most simple one is to communicate information. That's it. To reference the law, to write the grant, to initiate, to manage the money, to deliver the service. That all takes effort and some teamwork. But the most simple thing and the most important thing that I see coming out of this is the need to just communicate and treat each other like, there's information needed, then give the information. If you need time, then give that time. And then the need to identify and reach out to the instrumentalities and entities. That is mandated by Public Law 19-49. And I did make a statement to the administrator this morning to ensure that that part of the law and that clause of the law is followed, and to have trails and letters and emails that proves that section or subsection of Section 4 in Public Law 19-49 is adhered to and is performed. So these are things that we see, and there's more as we go along to meet with the other instrumentalities and the entities. There will be more actions that we would need to take. So in closing, under the leadership of our good Senate President, Senator Schneider, who created this special committee, he has tasked this committee to ensure that there are actions in place after these oversight proceedings conclude. And as a member of this special committee, I will give every effort to improve that process, right? So we can all serve our Commonwealth and its people in the very best manner that we should. So I want to thank our good Senate President. There's been a lot of energy and efforts of our staff that are sitting here with us, Tiara, Jolene, our legal counsels, Bermudez and Gomez, and especially the work of David Mapon, our fiscal analyst, who has really just dissected hundreds and hundreds, close to maybe 1,000 pages of numbers. It's a lot of energy and effort has been taken to come this far in this committee, and I just want to thank everyone for performing their duties so that we can, in the end, improve the process and move forward and start working for the greater benefit of our people. So again, Mayor Don, thank you. I thank you for your statements today. It's really felt, and I'm sure that the committee, through the leadership of our Senate President, will come up with the actions to improve this process. So thank you. I yield, Mr. President.
For Senator Venus Luna, kind of saw the mayor gesture that he wants to. Go ahead, Mr.
Can I? No, under the grants, there's multiple programs and services that you use, and then you have this uh, rentals assistant program. Then you have the fishermen's uh, cares relief, right? And these are things that we spread out as an aspire. We tell our people, come to the mayor's office, go to DNR, fill out these forms, get relief. You ever wonder why our rentals assistance program was never really being used, or should I say doled out, to take care of some of our people's needs? Mm, Take a look at the record because it's been on the papers. We don't have a staff who's trained to do those things. He called me up and said, "Give me a name, we hire." No, that poor kid was waiting for to be notified for 3 weeks. No, don't do that. Don't just don't offer. I don't appreciate that. Not only that the services are not being given properly to the people, and then you're gonna, you know, offer something that you don't commit. Um, One of the occasions was he was doing how do I the grant with the one when he made commitment to the staff of the departments to buy them computer. In front of them, he told them that the municipality of Tinian never has a $500,000 they never use. You know how insulting is that? When I've been begging for money and you're gonna tell this mid-level staffer that go, your homework is to go and write up a grant and we give you. If it is a good write-up, I'll give you for your office. But here I am on the corner listening into this thing that, no, how dare you? Now you gonna tell in front of them that the municipality has $500,000 that never spent when I've been begging? Why? Is it necessary for you to do that? Then to go into a office and then ask your friend, what do you need? And then you just purchase like that for your friend? When I've been asking, but you go to a worker who's a tractor operator and you ask what you want and you buy them. What kind of management is that? That's not that's not funny. Don't disrespect people like that. Here we go. We're about to start moving on these grants for FEMA. We need to take down what he gave this guy because they gave him team, which these projects, this roofing are going to be replaced by FEMA. No, stop doing things like that. You run your office accordingly. And by the way, this has nothing to do with the staff. Those people are doing their best to reach out. It's the management. I have nothing against all they do when I ask. Every single time that I go to the governor's office for a year and 10 months since I got into office, I make it a point to stop by their office, ask for help. How can you help me? Even staff from other agencies, we bump heads there, try to figure out how to help each other. And those are good workers. The staff are good. They listen to what we ask them. But at the end of the day, it's the boss. It's the boss that makes the decision, that determination. And I extend out my appreciation to all the staff for OGM for listening and just trying their best to help the municipality. This solar light project was not initiated by OGM. It was initiated through my office. The solar light was awarded last year. Awarded last year in August or September. Where is this contractor that got awarded? The solar light for the Fairlawn got replaced before even we awarded this thing, but the solar light for Fairlawn got replaced even before they even start construction for our solar light. We awarded our solar light first before Fairlawn's solar lights got repaired. But I don't know. I don't know what's this contractor. Imagine 8,000 each pole. You break down the numbers, 30, 6 panel, 250,000. Go figure. That solar light must have to cover half a mile. That 8,000 each pole. That's more expensive than the street light that's been built by CUC. No, I just ask to be treated equal. That's all. I'm not asking for, never asked to be preferred over any other municipality. No, I ask this. Don't say that you never asked. Because I've been begging. I was not asking, I was begging. And I told them, you keep it up, the day will come. You keep it up, the day will come. They just laugh at me. I shared the previous mayor's frustration. He was really disappointed. But again, I thank the committee for holding this public hearing, and I hope that you understand that what I have testified is my personal engagement and dealings with OGM. I've never been so frustrated in my life. I've been here in the legislature for 8 years, but I've never lived. But dealing with OGM was a very, very painful frustration that I had to go through. Until now. And this shouldn't, this office shouldn't exercise that way. They're supposed to serve us as their client. All we're trying to do is offload whatever they're overworked. Right? Rena here, I have to send her on my own municipal funds, municipal money, send her to San Francisco to get trained for van riding. Because I'm frustrated or waiting for them. At the time it was recovery. We needed somebody to directly deal with us and not every 3 weeks come down and offer us something and come back, no, nothing. So that's why we brought in Rena. Rena started working on bringing in some of her colleagues. And that's why we have this grants and management team in Tinian. And these are all not only for grants, but also for various projects. Thank you, and feel free if you have down the line future questions, please call me up and email me, or we'll get back to you.
Mr. Mayor, I appreciate the as what was mentioned earlier to the other members. Just so you know, this committee is poised to make substantive changes, as what was mentioned earlier by Senator Tinian, and even to the point where we're going to have direct meeting with the grants office. We will make that call as early as practical. I do want to ask because, you know, it's a statement that when you ask your staff, then kudos to your leadership to even go far and beyond to get this thing trained so that you don't wait for the bus to go further, no, and wait to to be the caboose. But for the greater part of this meeting that we have this afternoon, I wanted to ask this. Earlier, we have one of the staff make a statement saying that he kind of like the point of contact for OGM, Mr. Frankie Angel. I want to ask Reina, how's that communications coming along with regards to the efforts, insofar as what the testimonial of the mayor? What is the protocol? What is the standard? What is a standard day for you, basically, with communication, and what maybe in the same way make some sort of a critique on a possible SOP recommendation? Go ahead.
Good afternoon, Senate President. For the record, my name is Reina Cabrera. I'm the manager for the grants division at the Tinian Mayor's office. Mr. Frankie Angel is indeed our point of contact at the Office of Grants Management. And I would say that he does his best with the workload that he has. We do not communicate every day. We communicate when there is an RFI, request for information, for any of the grants that we're working on together. Most times we communicate when there is new information to share, or if the grant season, the cycle is opened. So recently, April was the closing of the MAP and TAP grants, right? That's the Technical Assistance Program and the Maintenance Assistance Program. So Tinian submitted a couple of grants under both programs. So we submitted 3 grants for the TAP and 2 heavy equipment for the MAP for this year, 2021 cycle. So during that time, Mr. Angel and I's communication was probably about most likely every day for maybe 2 weeks to get these proposals in and make sure that all the supporting documents, like the support letters, are submitted. I just recently established communication with a new person at the office, Mr. Ed Hofschneider Jr., who handles the SCORP, which we worked together to submit the Tinian Little League Baseball field recently in the first.
Sorry, Arena, what is SCORP?
Oh, SCORP is the Outdoor Recreation Plan. So it's
Sports Outdoor Recreation Plan?
SCORP, yes.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Yeah, we don't hear that every day, so.
I apologize. So
okay.
It's a new
Acronym?
It's a new program that they're managing under their office. So it also provides funding for outdoor parks, public areas that the entire community is able to use. So like nature trails, the Little League Baseball field happened to qualify as an eligible program or activity under that funding source.
So just backtrack a little. The MAP submitted to heavy equipment, or
Yes.
are we? It's already been submitted and it's.
Yes. So according to Mr. Angel, that the backhoe loader and the tractor mower boom, both of which are submissions for this year, are complete and have been submitted to OIA for OIA to make the final determination.
Did they respond back as to what are they gonna do if you get approved, or if you get disapproved, or what's the SOP typically?
No, I wasn't informed of what's the next course of action, but these are the same 2 heavy equipment that we did submit last year, FY 2020, and did not get awarded. So we didn't hear anything back. We just heard what we were awarded, which was the Tinian Children's Park at 68,000. And so we just decided to go ahead and carry on these 2 proposals, make a few adjustments to them, and then resubmit them for FY 2021's grant cycle.
Okay, so one of the things that we reviewed over the last couple of sessions with OGN is that particular issue of failing to respond if you don't get awarded. So we put emphasis on that, here's a entity or municipality that put all the efforts in, and that was it. There's no communication whether or not, so that you can be able to prepare, for strategically.
Yes.
So I'm glad that you resubmit the same, and also I want to share with you, the mayor, and everyone here, that is something that is lacking under their SOP, and they've admitted it. And that's something that they're poised, and we're poised to make sure that it sticks. Because one person's efforts to put all the time and effort to communicate and put it all together in writing, and then just not hear anything about it, whether approved or not, it's deflating, no?
Yes.
So that's why I kind of asked that to allow us to cross-check through their testimony. So anything else as far as entering in your access to the portal, to any, what is this, fill in the blanks for me, Tinian's or Rhoda's grant, I want to get into the system. Is that something that is doable based on the statute right 1949, or should we make any amendment to such?
So for right now, the grants.gov website is actually open to the public. The only issue I think that the municipality is facing is knowing which grants qualify for the municipalities, because not all grants can be, or not everybody can submit to a certain grantor. And so with OIA, OGM has to receive all the grant proposals,
Right.
and then they're the ones who put them together and submit them. So right now, us as the municipality, we can't submit directly to the grantor. So we
Clearinghouse,
submit it to OGM, yes.
So, that's the reason why we understand the state clearinghouse, the term. But again, it's was mentioned earlier, it's not a written in stone, and we're poised to work backwards or look at provisions that can allow more access to the seamless communication, no?
Yes.
Because that's why we have this discussion this afternoon. And I couldn't empathize more with the frustration with putting it together, especially when the mayor comes in and talk like that. It's troubling for this site, for us to hear. So the commitment is we're going to work towards bridging that and addressing some of the concerns, and even to the point where we're going to allow, because Mr. Cabrera and his team will probably be back in again in the next couple of days, and some of the members who, not all, will be raising those issues up, and then we're going to start narrowing the miscommunication and all. Is there anything else you want to share, or Mr. Perez, you want to? No, we're good. Members, maybe Senator Cruz, request.
Mr. President, Mr. Mayor, in regards to the solar light, I guess they haven't reached out to your office as to the status of that light. You didn't mention whether you mentioned one. I believe somebody reached out to the office in regards to train that staff, right? Just that.
I believe she just got
You mentioned earlier that they called
Friday, or
so that's
when they notified her that she's coming for training starting tomorrow.
okay. Now, what about the solar light? They haven't reached out to advise you or let you know what's the status of that
Other than answer.
So for the status of the solar lights, the last that we heard, so we've consistently followed up with Mr. Angel as he's our point of contact. And the last that we heard was this year, March 2021, that it was still going through the NEPA process, Section 106 process.
So as of today,
So as of
Yeah.
today, it's, as far as we know, it's still under the permitting process review. We have yet to hear, anything updated on the solar lights.
But my new senator, this is since August. This August 2019. Okay?
you've been awarded.
So I don't know if they're gonna build a street light from YCC that gonna go over the water, going to go there, because it's really been long. NEPA is still 90, 60 days, maybe more, maybe 100 days, but not since 2019 to now.
In any other awarded that goes on through the office that haven't been addressed to the office? Any other besides the solar light?
So we did get awarded the Tinian Children's Park under the Technical Assistance Program, and that is for $68,000. And the last communication we had again with that was on March 10th. We sent an email providing all the quotes for the playground equipment, fuel, and other small purchases that we can make to push that children's park project. And we were informed by Mr. Frankie Angel that we have a $2,500 open account at Ace Hardware to get the little
2,000
supplies.
out
Yeah,
of the 60-some thousand?
2,500. Yes,
So you're gonna start with the 2,000?
that's the only open account we had for this children's park, and that's the reason why we haven't moved forward. Was we were hoping for the purchase of like the brush cutters and some other stuff that would make that 2,500 come into play with something.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I want to make sure OGM proceed forward with the award and all those that promise to assist the municipality. Again, thank you for. I know you've been sharing with us your frustration, but this is the first time that I hear almost 10 lists of deny or on non-respond, or you haven't responded to your call or your whenever you visit to his office, he did not respond. I know that you, like I said, you've been mentioning your frustration in regards to the OGM, but I see that the list that it's beyond. I know this is beyond and above no unacceptable for a municipality that is trying to deliver the best services to the community, and the support is not there. So again, thank you for sharing with us that the complete incident that you went through this this OGM office. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
I had a chance to meet with him. Like I said, I always went down there and talk to him about going to Dormo in Guam or GSA. No, it's like, I'll pay for you and we go down there. Because it's only, so only not all people are allowed to go to Dormo and execute those documents. You first need to be certified. And then it happened to be that one of them, their staff is certified, one from Homeland Security, and I believe from Defense and DPS. So I wanted to bring him along, go to Dormo, because he's always been telling me that he gave Road a dump truck, he gave Hummer, he gave pickup. I don't want to hear about what Rhoda got. Want you and me to go down there. But never happened. So I'll call you. Did I ever do anything to this? Senator, I was a part of the legislature that passed this bill. I supported this bill. At the time when they came down to the House and begged me to support the bill, when we were supposed, I think the Senate was supposed to cut the budget for OGM. I was there. I was telling you, barking up the wrong tree. I am supporting OGM to get one more fiscal year. No, I don't understand. And the director was there. He asked for my help. I helped it. But this kind of treatment is just too much for me as some municipality.
Senator,
Yeah, Ren, I just wanna, get back to you mentioned about, this, well, solar project, what is it that, I heard you mention about clearance from permitting agencies?
Yes, so the last update that we got with that project was that it is still going through the NEPA process and the section 106.
So they didn't tell you which agency that got that, permitting, that needs to get clearance from?
I believe it's on the federal side, the federal government side.
Like-
So I'm not too sure what the process is for NEPA or how long it's supposed to take. But from research that I've done online, searching online, how long a typical project goes through NEPA, it's normally anywhere between like 90 to 120 days.
So those agencies are not within the CNMI, it's outside the CNMI where it's gonna get clearance?
I believe so for federal funding.
Can you get a hold of that and let us know?
Yes, I will.
Which clearance is, needed?
Okay, I will.
Thank you.
thank you, Senator. Mr. Mayor, those documents that you brought along. Start one item, submitted. Okay, yes. Senator Cruz, Senator Tinian, we're good. That pretty much wraps up our segment for the municipality of Tinian and Aguigan. I wish to thank Mayor Edwin O'Don for his testimony and his exchange with the committee. Reyna and Mr. Alan Perez. Please know that although your testimonial today is wrapped up, but please know that we will be communicating with your office in future times to discuss further on the matter before us. So, with this time, I would like to call for a 5-minute recess. Thank you.